Hello everyone, this is Meenakshi Narula, founder and CEO at Mentoring the Mentors, an institute that accelerates your learning curve. In today's session, I would like to discuss about the lesson plan format. In the classroom, as and when we teach, we need to plan our lesson plans. See, lesson plan is a document that should be flexible as per the needs of the students, as per the requirements of the students based on various learning styles, as per the need of the hour. So when we are talking about 21st century skills, when we are talking about competency-based education, when we focus on art integration, sports integration, various subject integration activities, so let us talk about a new lesson plan format which highlights various competencies of our students. In this session, I will be just sharing about lesson plan format. Later on, I will be giving you some examples also. So stay connected, do subscribe to the channel so that you will be able to get to know about various videos when I'll be uploading. You'll be getting a notification. And don't forget to share the feedback, your valuable comments, and any kind of questions or queries, any suggestions are most welcome. So this is the lesson plan format that I have created for my school with the mutual consent of the teachers, with the feedback that I have received from them, from the students, and from my research as well. So in a lesson plan format, there are some contents, some parameters are there. We'll be talking about those basic necessities of a lesson plan today. So here you go. In a lesson plan, first of all, in the header, it's a lesson plan format I have mentioned. And for each session, I have a different lesson plan format. This is for 22-23. And my school name logo is there. And then class and section, we need to specify the subject, the month that is going on, teacher's name. So now when it is highlighted month, it depends. You are making a monthly plan, you are making a fortnightly plan, or you are planning the lesson plans for each lesson, for each topic, for each content. That depends upon your school, your organization, how they are going to go ahead with that, right? Because in our logbooks, we are having our weekly plan, our fortnightly plan, our monthly plan as well. So here these lesson plans are according to the lessons that we are going to teach to our students. If the lessons are so big, we can divide into different kinds of topics and the content. So then I will be mentioning the chapter I'll be dealing with, then the topics, then subtopics have to be mentioned that I'll be dealing in a particular lesson. Then number of periods. See, that should be our yearly plan, annual plan. We have to divide the number of working days accordingly. We have to have, 10 at least backless days also. Different activities we need to consider. We have to check our APP, annual pedagogical plan. There various things are being written. We need to go through that. Accordingly, we will be able to calculate the number of periods, right? For each subject, we'll be able to divide. See, we have to have time for revision, recapitulation, test, examination, formative assessment. That is a part of the classroom as well. Periodic tests are there. So PTMs, number of days are already been identified for a particular activity. So we have to mention, like we will be having these many periods, we'll be dedicating to this very chapter, and date from and to has to be mentioned over here. Now, if I go further, you need to mention the resources required. As you can see here on the screen, resources required. You need to mention the textbook name. We refer to various references books as well, either available in the library or we are having on our own. YouTube channel I have referred to. We have smart boards. We show videos to the students, or maybe we share links with them through the social media, our WhatsApp groups, on our websites as well. And if we talk about flipped classroom, we share with some videos, some content, some PDF, some academic websites also you can mention if you are sharing with them to go through it well in advance. And then stationery items required, worksheets that you are making, you have to mention the worksheet number also, topic, okay? Each worksheet should be numbered. So you need to mention that also. And I have given various headings. If you can go through textbook, reference book, worksheets, stationery item, video, websites, YouTube channel, Khan Academy, anything that you want to refer to, please mention the links over here so that anybody, any member of the management, the principal, the coordinator, the wing in charges, they are going through your lesson plan, they will be able to have a very good clarity and they'll be able to give a clear, positive, assertive feedback, okay, for your growth. And after that, see, I have mentioned important worksheets to be sent on mail with lesson plan. Make sure your worksheet should be ready before you share the lesson plan. I mean, along with that, you have to share the worksheets as well so that they'll be able to check whether the worksheets are in sync with the lesson plan or not, whether they are reflecting the learning outcomes that you are expecting out of your students or not. So accordingly, perfect feedback can be provided to the teacher. And now if I talk about starting of the lesson plan, now learning objective, you have to give a broader adjective in both the terms, in journal as well as specific. For example, see, I'll be giving you an exemplar lesson plan later in the next video. This is a format, but here just would like to tell you, you have to give a journal and the specific learning objective. What is a learning objective? If I am teaching a particular topic to my students, if I want my students to learn fractions, what is my objective? What do I want to teach the student? I want to teach my students to know more about fractions so that they'll be able to understand what are fractions and what all terms, right? I would like to introduce, I'll be able to share the same. And then learning outcomes as per NCERT manual, and I have written SMART also. Learning outcomes, usually in our previous lesson plans, earlier we used to mention learning outcomes at the end of the lesson plan. And what the teachers, they were doing is at the top, they were mentioning the learning objectives. Usually in our books, in our topics, in our chapters, it is already mentioned what is a learning objective of a particular chapter, right? We used to mention those learning objectives. And at the end, we used to mention these are the learning outcomes. Students have learned this. But sorry to say, these learning outcomes as per CBSE, the latest lesson plan that I have attended various sessions from CBSE, from British Council Collaboration as well, on competency-based education, learning outcomes to be mentioned at the top. They should be right clear. They should be explained to the students also, like why are we learning? What are we expecting you to reflect? And these learning outcomes should be SMART. SMART, everybody knows, they have to be specific. You have to be very, very clear about the learning outcome. They have to be measurable. You should be able to check whether the child has understood the concept of or not. The learning outcomes you should be able to measure by any of the means, either test, oral test, collaboration, I mean, any kind of activities to be conducted. And then I'm talking about SMART, specific, measurable, attainable. They have to be attainable. I mean, they should not be like anything that you will not be able to achieve. You should be able to achieve in the class. They have to be age appropriate, learner appropriate, content appropriate, and then are realistic. They have to be realistic. There should not be something imaginary that cannot be possible. And time bound. Please make sure you mention the time as well. I mean to say, I do understand there are students in your classes who are differentiated learners. You see, everybody has different learning style. Everybody has different pace to learn or reflect the learning outcomes. So you have to take that pace accordingly and give that sufficient time to your students. Like the students will be able to reflect these learning outcomes by the end of 2 months, by the end of the chapter, by the end of the midterm or whatever. Make sure you specify that time as well. Okay, and now how to write learning outcomes, for that a separate session is to be conducted, but here just would like to give you a few examples. Learning outcomes, they will be starting, students will be able to what? After that, we have to write various action words, terminologies, and that action words should be according to Bloom's taxonomy. I know, I assume most of you are familiar with Bloom's taxonomy, and there are various verbs, the keywords, they have been mentioned as per different levels, starting from remembering, understanding, right, application, analyzing, and if we have to reach at the top, creation level. There are different verbs mentioned. So we need to start the learning outcomes from those words, the keywords, right? And we have to use those verbs starting from remembering, and we have to reach the creativity level. Accordingly, we need to design and make sure, if when we are talking about like 50%, 40% of the question papers, they will be, as I have shared in my previous video, like all the question papers should comprise of at least 40% of the competency-based questions. So for that, let us do one thing. 40% of our paper should have HOTS, higher order thinking skills. When we talk about evaluation, talk about analysis, creation, they are the higher order thinking skills. And when we talk about remembering, understanding, and applications, they are the lower order thinking skills. So you have to divide the paper accordingly. Make sure 40% of the paper should comprise of competency-based questions, and they should comprise of HOTS. So here we need to specify learning outcomes accordingly, and the learning outcomes should be SMART, right? Specific, measurable, achievable or attainable, realistic, and time bound. Now let's come to the key competences. Competency-based education highlights various competences. In my previous videos, some of the viewers, they have asked the questions like, what should I do to inculcate those kinds of competences in my children? So you have to first make a list of the competences that you would like your students to reflect. These key competences are collaboration, creativity, communication, emotional development, social responsibility, and learning to learn. So you see, these kinds of things, they have been mentioned. So make sure your students will be able to reflect the same, and you will be able to guide your students accordingly. Like these learning outcomes are to be reflected, right? So here you go. Now, next, as you can see here on the screen, key competences, I have already cleared: collaboration, creativity, communication, emotional development, social responsibility, and learning to learn. Now, I have given here, highlight the targeted key competences in yellow color. I mean, because this is a lesson plan that I have given in e-format, in the Word format, the teachers, they will be able to highlight it, like what key competences they are highlighting in this lesson. It is not possible for us to focus to highlight on each and every competency in each and every lesson. You can understand that. So make sure in some of the lessons you will be able to focus on some of the competencies, and the rest of the competencies you can target in the next lessons. Like I want, suppose I am going to teach my students about biodegradable, non-biodegradable resources. That is a sciences subject, and I can give some kind of activity to my students where they'll be able to collaborate. Yes, I can give, I'll be able to highlight collaboration. I can ask them to think about it, and they'll be able to give some out of the box ideas, how to handle the waste, how to stop the waste, any other way to stop usage of plastic, another thing, right? Because you see, recently I have gone through various kinds of blogs where it has been mentioned, though most of the restaurant providers, the restaurants, what are they doing is, when they are sharing, when they are sending the food in biodegradable containers and all, their people, they are not liking it because of the leakage and all. So again, they are switching to plastics, and also let them be creative and think of some of the alternatives. So they are coming to the creativity level. Their knowledge is not just based on the bookish knowledge, and also they are thinking out of the box. Communication, when they are creating some kind of awareness in the community, maybe through street plays, mimes, posters, social media, they're creating that kind of awareness related to biodegradable, non-biodegradable resources, plastics, and another hazardous waste. So it means they are having good communication skills. So that communication I'm highlighting. Emotional development, when they are developing in them empathy for the environment, empathy for other people, empathy for the society. They are talking about sustainable development goals. So it means I am highlighting emotional development as well in my students. Social responsibility, certainly when they are thinking they are the global citizens, they have to do something for the United Nations goals. Sustainability is their target. It means they are socially responsible and learning to learn. This is what we want our children to always, you see, yearn to learn. So that is another thing we are focusing on. So if right now I have shared with you one topic, means I have highlighted all the key competences in one chapter, though it's not possible every time everywhere. But as many competencies as you can focus, make sure you go ahead for that. Now next comes multiple intelligence. Multiple intelligence theory, everybody knows, has been given by Howard Gardner, and we all focus on multiple intelligence theory. And here I have mentioned all the multiple intelligences, and I have asked my teachers, make sure you highlight which multiple intelligence you are focusing on. So my lovely educators, when I say we focus on differentiated classrooms, differentiated learning styles should be there. If I am teaching something, suppose related to water cycle in my class, and I have to cater to different learning styles, is it possible for me to teach my lesson, the same lesson, in 8 different ways, catering to the different learning styles? If I look at my time that is with me, that has been given to me to complete the syllabus, also examination, revision, everything, art integration, number of another CBSE activities we have to do every other day, how the same could be done? I have to think I need to integrate the same. Like for example, let me continue with this water cycle example only. Linguistic intelligence, so word smart students, obviously they want to read, they want to write. I may ask them to go and explore outside, gather some data about various water bodies. What are they observing? They need to write about it. I may divide the students in different kinds of group, where I will be able to allocate different duties to the different members of the group, so that each member comprises of different learners. One is going and researching and gathering data and writing a report about it, and another one, logical mathematical intelligence. They'll be able to interpret that gathered data in the form of, you see, data handling, bar graphs, and other analysis can be done. So they'll be able to do it. And spatial intelligence, picture smart. They'll be able to click pictures, draw pictures, and graphic organizers. They can present it so very beautifully. They can either, it can be done manually, or they can use any of the, you see, softwares available free of cost even on the internet. Adobe Spark is a wonderful tool. They'll be able to use the same. Canva they can use. Number of another tools are available. The children, they'll be able to use and go ahead with that. And next come bodily kinesthetic intelligence. Let children perform something, role play related to water cycle, condensation, precipitation, water cycle, drops, sun and all. And interpersonal intelligence, people smart, musical intelligence. I conducted one activity where my children, they sang a song on water cycle. You will be able to find the same on my channel. They really enjoyed a lot. We conducted the same on the occasion of parent walk-in, when the children, they just sang a song on water cycle. They involved the parents also in some kind of puzzles. They had to arrange the pictures as per the various sequences of a water cycle, how the water moves here in the nature, you see. So it was a very interesting activity. Naturalists, the children, they would love nature. You see, let me tell you, most of my science classes, they have been held in the nature. Go through my FB, if you can check, there are number of activities that I have posted, and most of the time my children, they were there outside in the ground. Be it they are learning about force, be it they are learning about, you see, temperature, weather conditions, or I mean what not, different kinds of vegetation when they are learning about. So most of the time they have spent outside in the nature, or maybe if they have to do some kinds of experiments, they were found in the science lab. Very rarely we were found in the normal classroom, you see, traditional classroom. And there also we used to conduct number of activities. Please do check, and don't forget to share your feedback, your comments in the comment section below. And now next step is transdisciplinary activities. Let me tell you, one is, what is a discipline? The different subjects are disciplines. Science, maths, Hindi, they are different disciplines. And if we talk about multidisciplines, means I am teaching more than one subject to my students. If I am saying interdisciplinary, means two subjects, they are interrelated, they are interconnected, right? Like as talk about arts integration, right? They are learning art, they are learning science, they are learning art, they are learning mathematics. So we are interrelated, those chapters. Now, but here comes transdisciplinary activities. What is transdisciplinary? When there is overlapping of the different subjects, right? Science is there, art is there, social science is there. I mean, we are not marking the subjects, outlining nahi kar rahe hum uske ki this is science, this is math, this is arts. No, they have become transparent. This is transdisciplinary activities. If like we conducted one activity, I do remember with my friend Preeti, she was a social science teacher, where we were teaching together. We talked about wastewater management, and I discussed with her how to go about it. I want to collaborate with you if you can give some input. And I, being a science teacher, she being a social science teacher, she said, okay, let's go ahead with that. And she talked about Harappan civilization, how the wastewater management was that during, you see, that system, because it was considered at that time, it was the best system, Indus Valley civilization, you see. But she talked about that, and then we took the class together, integrated learning. And then I talked about, okay, you need to gather some data. And now, see, it was earlier also, it was a rainy season, and now also you see July, every other day rains, and everywhere, as you see in our sector also, the roads are really like that. It's really very difficult. It becomes a Herculean task to go out, even to drop and bring the children to you see, to home and school. So it is really very, very difficult. So anyways, so they gathered the data, calculated, manipulated, they compared, contrasted, like what kind of system is there right now, what kind of system was there during that civilization. So we integrated the same. So there was no demarcation whether they are learning science or whether they are learning social science, whether they're collecting data, whether they are analyzing. And my friend Yogesh is a maths and physics teacher, so we collaborated together and we just presented it so very wonderfully. You see, sciences, social sciences, maths, together we did. And the children, they were not learning any subject, they were learning concepts. This is, we are talking about, like, and they were developing competences of gathering data, of interpreting, presentation, thinking creatively. So this is what has been done by our children, as I have already highlighted. Transdisciplinary activities integrate with different subjects: visual arts, poster making, slogan writing, different subjects, song, dance, music, and I have given a heading for academic vocabulary as well. Let me tell you, one vocabulary is journal vocabulary that is there in each and every subject. In journal, when I'm speaking, I need some helping verbs, I need some journal terms. Like children in the lower classes, they study sight words and this and that and nouns and pronouns and whatever. So see, when they grow in the higher classes, they have to have their enhanced vocabulary. If I say enhancement of the vocabulary is the responsibility of language teacher, this is not true. If I am a science teacher, I will be explaining my students about what is the meaning of the term evaporation, what is the meaning of the term precipitation, what is the meaning of the term herbivores, carnivores, omnivores. An English language teacher, why would she teach the same in her class? So I have to focus on that kind of academic vocabulary. Before I begin my chapter, I need to introduce those terms to my students. That is my responsibility. Because if I will be talking in class and time and again, I will be talking about parasites, scavengers, and the children, they will just look at my face like what I am talking about. Make sure you mention the same in the lesson plan and you share the meanings of these words to your students. So that is academic vocabulary, right? So now next comes, like I have already mentioned, I've just told you, evaporation, condensation, percolation. You have to explain the meanings to your students. An English language teacher, why will she explain the meaning of percolation? Why will she explain the meaning of condensation in her class? That is your job being a subject teacher. And then pedagogy. Next comes pedagogy. So I have already mentioned for the reference of my teachers, like what kind of pedagogy they can use. I'll just read it for you. You all can take even a screenshot as well. Interdisciplinary instructions such as arts, storytelling, sports, work education, Sewa, socially useful productive work for the welfare of the society, collaborative learning, cooperative learning strategies, reciprocal learning, discussions, group projects, peer tutoring, blended learning with integration of ICT, flipped classrooms, computational learning based on logical reasoning, decomposition, patterns, experiential learning, problem solving, games, case studies, simulations, portfolios, presentations, projects. They are the different kinds of pedagogies that you can use as per the need of the chapter, as per the need of the subject, as per the need of the age of the students, right? And as per the need of the time as well. You'll be able to change. Suppose in one chapter, I am focusing on collaborative learning. I'm giving chance each and every child to work in a group. But I notice like in a group, like suppose there are 5 members, so one child is quite a shy one and other 4, they help, I mean they did it and they presented the same, but this child has not got an opportunity. So in my next lesson, what will I do is I will change my strategy to cooperative learning, where each and every child in a group will be assigned a specific task. So you can go ahead with that. Now comes the steps of this lesson planning, pedagogy, steps of that. First of all, introductory, we call it previewing activity, we call it a hook, we call it elicit, right? We want to just know what the students already know about a particular topic, so that we can start our next topic in connection to that previous topic. Children should not feel like out of the blue something else has been started in the class. They should feel familiar with whatever they know. Okay, now we are going to go ahead with the next content. So that kind of hook is to be created in the class. Quite exciting activity to be done, right? So that kind of question should be arise in the mind of the children. So this is how you have to create a hook. This will be clear to you with the help of some examples that I'll be sharing in the upcoming videos. Next is the main activities. In main activity, 4 steps are there, and you have to mention each and everything about 4 steps. Engage. What will you do to engage the students in the particular lesson? I am talking about our environment. I created a hook. I shared a picture on my board. I went to Faridabad and there is a, you see, grand heap of garbage and I mean, I just clicked the picture. I just shared it with my students. I said, just look at it. What do you think about it? What exactly it is? And I created a hook in the mind of the students. And then main activities, I wanted to engage. I started with small discussion in the class. I engaged my students. Okay, talk in group, think, pair, share. Think, what is this? Now pair up, share the same with the partner. Share the same with the group. Share the same with the class. 5-10 minutes mention here, like I will be spending 5-10 minutes, 15 minutes, okay, fine, because this is the beginning of the lesson. So I'll spend at least 15 minutes for engaging my students, for creating a hook as well, and then explore. What will you do to let your children explore more? Let them read the newspapers. You can bring the same in the classroom. You must have some magazines. Let them read some their textbook content. You I mean, they don't have to read the entire chapter. You may specify a particular column they have to read, or if it is a lengthy column, you may divide the same in different groups. Let them read those kinds of passages, and then they'll be able to share the same, their opinion about it. And then they'll be explaining and they'll elaborate on that. You need to write about each and every E. Elicit, engage, explore, explain, elaborate, and then comes evaluate. That we'll be talking about later. And you need to mention, if your chapter, initially in the beginning, we have mentioned various topics, subtopics. You need to mention how you will go ahead from one topic to another. Hindi. Okay, let us talk in Hindi now. I'm talking about the Hindi subject. Hindi का subject है. हिंदी में आपने कोई बच्चों को पाठ में कोई याद रहा, पिंजरे का तोता आपने पाठ पढ़ाना है. आप बच्चों को एक हुक क्रिएट करेंगे. कैसा लगेगा बच्चों अगर आपको एक कमरे में बंद कर दिया जाए कि बस सब खाने पीने का सब सामान मिलेगा, टीवी देखो, सब कुछ करो, बट बाहर नहीं जाना है. आजादी पे बंदिश लग गई है. कैसा लगेगा? यू क्रिएटेड अ हुक. एंगेज देम, आस्क अ फ्यू रिप्लाईज डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द टाइम. एंगेज कर दिया आपने उनको. फिर उसके बाद आप उनको बोलिए ऐसी ही एक कहानी आज हम पढ़ेंगे, पिंजरे का तोता क्या होता है उसके साथ. फिर आप उस कहानी के बारे में करने से पहले बच्चों से ये पूछ सकते हैं कि क्या आप प्रिडिक्ट कर सकते हैं कि इस कहानी में क्या होगा. लेट देम एज्यूम. आप उनके रिस्पॉन्सेस सुनिए. जब तक उन्होंने वो कहानी नहीं पढ़ी हुई है, वो अलग अलग उनके विचार आए. उसके बाद आप उनको बताइए कि देखिए इस कहानी में तो ये ऐसा है. चलिए, रीडिंग स्किल तो आपने डेवलप करनी है. वो साइलेंट रीडिंग भी है. रीडिंग की बहुत सारी स्ट्रैटेजीज मेरे चैनल पर आपको मिल जाएंगी. बट फिर आप अपनी कहानी शुरू करिए कि ऐसा होता है. हाँ, आपकी बात सही है, ऐसा भी हो सकता था, बट ये कहानी कुछ ऐसा कहती है. आप एंगेज करिए, इलेबोरेट करेंगे. उसके बाद में आप उनको ये बोलिए, एक्सप्लेन आपने कर दिया, बच्चों ने एक्सप्लोर कर लिया, एक्सप्लेन कर दिया क्या है, उनकी क्वेरीज ले ली. उनको बोलिए कि इसके आगे और क्या हो सकता है. उनकी इमेजिनेशन कि अगर ये स्टोरी का एंड ऐसा है, ऐसा होता, तो आप क्या क्या इसको एंड देते अगर आपने ये स्टोरी लिखी होती. तो इस तरीके से उनको एंगेज करिए. बोरिंग तरीके से नहीं पढ़ाना है कि चैप्टर पढ़ा दिया, क्वेश्चन आंसर करा दिया, कल याद करके आना, ये शब्द अर्थ है, ये पढ़ लेना, इसका टेस्ट होगा, पेज नंबर 32 पर होमवर्क दिया हुआ है वो करके आना. वो नहीं, ऐसे काम नहीं चलेगा. ऐसे ऑब्सोलीट तरीके से बच्चे नहीं पढ़ेंगे. राइट. एंड नाउ नेक्स्ट कम्स अ क्लोजर. आपने इस चैप्टर को, मुझे लगा कि मैं इसको 8 दिन में 10 दिन में कंप्लीट कर लूंगी. मैंने इसमें मेंशन कर दिया, मुझे डे 1 डे 2 में 2 दिन में मुझे ये करना है, 3 दिन में मुझे इस पे फोकस करना है, एकेडमिक वोकैबुलरी करनी है, फिर मुझे क्लोजर करना है. मुझे 1 दिन क्लोजर के लिए चाहिए. आई हैव टू मेंशन डे 1. मुझे क्लोजर में कौन सी एक्टिविटीज करनी है. मैं समरी करना चाहती हूँ. मैं ही नहीं हूँ वहां पे जो सारी समरी सुनाऊंगी बच्चों को. राइट. समरी की डिफरेंट एक्टिविटीज है. 1 वर्ड समरी बच्चों को दे दीजिए, 3 वर्ड समरी दे दीजिए, एक सेंटेंस में समरी देना है, कॉज एंड इफेक्ट समरी देना है, राइट, बिगिनिंग मिडल एंड वाला समरी देना है. वो आपसे शेयर करूंगी नेक्स्ट वीडियोस में कि क्या क्या समरी के वेरियस मेथड्स हो सकते हैं. बच्चे देंगे समरीज, आपको नहीं समरी सम अप करना है. राइट. तो क्लोजर करेंगे उसका, उसमें उनकी क्वेरीज ले सकते हैं, क्वेश्चंस ले सकते हैं. नेक्स्ट कम्स CFU, चेक फॉर अंडरस्टैंडिंग. एक्टिविटीज इवेल्युएट कहिए, इसको असेसमेंट कहिए. असेसमेंट आपके पूरे लेसन प्लान का इंटीग्रल पार्ट होना चाहिए. जब हम बात करते हैं मल्टीपल असेसमेंट की, फॉर्मेटिव असेसमेंट की, आई एम सॉरी, वो आपके चैप्टर में हर 15 मिनट में एक मल्टीपल असेसमेंट होना चाहिए. बच्चों से 2-4 क्वेश्चन पूछ लो, समझ आ रहा है नहीं आ रहा है, क्विज पूछ लो, पिक्चर दिखा लो, एक्टिविटीज करा लो. ओके. 2 stars and a wish, 2 roses and 1 thorn. बहुत सारी एक्टिविटीज हैं, वो आप करा सकते हैं. इसमें मेंशन करिए चेक फॉर अंडरस्टैंडिंग. और उसके बाद क्या है, पर्पसफुल होमवर्क. We were talking about homework. So homework जो है, I have changed its name from homework, home assignment, to independent practice, collaborative task. Like इंडिपेंडेंट प्रैक्टिस, अगर आप बच्चों को कुछ होमवर्क दे रहे हो, कुछ काम दे रहे हो, उसको अकेले करना है, अकेले प्रैक्टिस करनी है, थिंक एंड डू, एंड दैट शुड बी इंडिपेंडेंट प्रैक्टिस. एंड इफ यू आर गिविंग सम कोलैबोरेटिव टास्क, बट मेक श्योर you talk about higher order thinking skills, think about the creation level, analysis. तभी बच्चे जाकर उस लेवल तक पहुंच पाएंगे. And collaborative tasks, how they'll be doing the collaborative tasks on the online environment, we have already practiced for past 2 years. Various tools are there by Google, by Microsoft, many of the graphic organizers, the children, they can make together collaboratively on their Adobe platform as well. They'll be able to do the same, right? And if you are giving some of the questions already, nowadays we are having some books, either schools are publishing on their own, they are having their own L&D, R&D cells, as we are also having research and development cells. And some of the publishers also, they are providing NEP based books where number of activities they have been mentioned. You can specify back exercise questions, the page number that should be highlighted, some kind of hand-in activity, some kind of parent collaborative activity. I was talking about, I mean, parent collaboration should be there. If the children, they cannot collaborate with the student around, they are living at far off places. Parent collaboration का मतलब ये नहीं कि parent को paper काट के, scissor काट के वो project बना के देना है, right? Parent collaboration means, I mean, something they can talk to the parents, they can interview them, interview their neighborhood people, they can collect data, they can talk to them, they can observe them, how are they doing, right? Talking about their history, maybe how are they managing finance, the electricity bills and all at home. I mean, there are a number of tasks that they can do. I mean, even, let me tell you, if they see their parents cooking in the kitchen, they can talk about practice. You see, proportion, fraction, temperature, so many other things can be done together in collaboration, right? So now let's move on to the next part. Very important, very, very important. Students' reflection. When you complete a chapter, closure, assessment, check for understanding, everything has been done, homework has been assigned. Now students' reflection. Talk about sunny areas, muddy areas, what went well and what needs to be improved as per the students. Or you may take their feedback in the form of thumbs up, thumbs down. I mean, related to the different topics. You can go for traffic light activities so that you'll be able to get to know the students at different levels, red light, yellow light, green light. I mean, what are the areas that are very clear to them? Green light. What are the areas that they are finding really very, very difficult? Red light. You need to repeat those topics. What are the areas they are saying is yellow light? Means they understand it, but there are some areas where they are finding it quite difficult. You need to talk to them once again. Or you may based on that, you may create peer groups. The children who are having green areas, they'll be able to help the students with the red zone, students with the green zone, yellow zone, they'll be able to collaborate and work in collaboration. The same can be done. And then teachers' takeaway for the next plan. This is required to be mentioned. When the lesson went well, what is your takeaway? How are you going to improve your lesson for the upcoming next lesson? You need to make some changes in that. So now next comes students who required remedial worksheets and your efforts, initiatives for the same. Now throughout your lesson, you must have seen some of the children, they were not able to cope up. They were not able to understand, as I told you, differentiated learning. So what did you do for those students? There were some gifted students too, who did really very well, who completed the task well in advance. What extra activities you planned for them? And what kind of remedial sheets were provided to the students? So you have to mention the same so that it will be easy for you. And then your name and signature, and after that signature and the feedback from either the school coordinator, the wing coordinator, the subject coordinator, the HODs, whosoever they're at your school, then the principal's feedback. And based on that, you need to go ahead with that. Let me tell you, when you will be sharing the lesson plan, you can email, you can print or whatever. After it gets over, then only you need to fill in the feedback part. You should not, I mean, assume like what can be the feedback, what can be the reflection. First do it, complete it, submit it, Then you fill in what went well, what needs to be improved, that will be checked later on. So the lesson plan is to be checked twice. And this worksheets should be sent along with that. I've already said. So in my upcoming videos, I'll be giving you some examples of these lesson plans. Till then, goodbye, take rest. See you soon with another wonderful videos. And if you really like my initiative of sharing my learning with you, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And if you like the video, don't forget to hit the like button. And what is more important, feedback, sunny and muddy areas, 2 stars, otherwise 2 thorns, sorry, 2 roses and a thorn. So I'm such kind of feedback. You also make sure you share the same in the comments box. Till then, bye-bye from Meenakshi Narula at Mentoring the Mentors, an institute that accelerates your learning curve. Bye-bye. Thank you. Thank you. Have a nice day.